And now, our feature presentation.
Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens. There stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B. Goode, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ring in the bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go. Johnny be good. He used to carry his guitar in a gunny sack, or sit beneath a tree by the railroad track. Oh, the engineers would see him sitting in the shade, strumming with the rhythm that the drivers made. The people passing by, they would stop and say, oh my, but that little metal boy can play. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Johnny be good.
Hey guys, I'm Scarfy.
I'm Naka.
And I am Krüz.
And welcome to Subwuffer Entertainment Treehouse, a determinedly drunk, geeky, and cheerful podcast where wolves we house and a train we entertain, bringing you all the latest entertainment news. Set's a lot like a music appreciation class. We talk about what's going on in certain topics and see how people react to them in certain ways. That song that you were listening to was...
It was a Johnny B. Goode metal cover by Leo Morak. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's Frogleaf Studios.
I will have to say that was actually a pretty good rendition of Johnny B. Goode. I heard that not too long ago. Green Day did their own cover of Johnny B. Goode.
Yeah, they did it live. I thought that was great of them to do.
Yeah, it was. So, how is everyone tonight?
Well, I do want to say something. I have work at 6 p.m. PST, so that's why we're doing it early this week.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand why we are doing this early, it's because we wanted to fit in as much time as possible for Naka to do the show and also for him to get to work, because apparently they didn't listen to his schedule and he has to go back and change it. But other than that, there's no problem starting an hour early, because while it's a curse for us to not start at the original time, it is a blessing for you guys, because you guys get to hear Subwuffer Entertainment Treehouse earlier than before. So,
and then you guys can watch WrestleMania earlier.
Yeah,
because that's going on.
Yeah,
is Shane McMahon gonna jump off the cage from Hell in a Cell against the Undertaker? Find out in WrestleMania 33, which I'm not going to be watching.
Yeah, because we don't have pay-per-view, sadly.
Because I have work, actually. That's
Well, we don't have money, first of all.
Well, that too, but hopefully it just really bothers me that Brock Lesnar broke Undertaker's winning streak, but whatever. It is what it is. I will have to say, we do have a bit of news that we must talk about before we get into our original agenda. We're gonna go ahead and we are going to go ahead and tell you what's been going on for the week ahead. On April 9th, we will be having our show as regularly scheduled, but on April 16th, we will be taking another week off because, well, it's Easter.
It's Easter.
It's Easter, and unfortunately, we all have plans to be somewhere on Sunday, and we just don't think it's appropriate to have a show on Sunday where people are spending time with family. By the way, birds are chirping. I need to shut my window. But yeah, other than that, I just wanted to let you guys know that because so we'll be having our show on the 9th. We're taking the 16th off, but we'll return with more news on the 23rd. So just keep in mind, we are sorry to tell you about this sooner than later, but hopefully you guys will be able to handle us not having a show for another week. And I will have to say, we've already recorded 9 episodes, and damn, I can't believe it's already been 9 episodes, and this is our 10th episode so far, and the seasons have only been 12 to 11 episodes each. Can you believe that?
I mean, we might set a new record or set a new high for our episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, we might definitely be. By the way, can you guys just hold the fort for me while I close my window so you're not hearing birds chirping all the time. Sorry about that. Just hold the fort for me for 5 seconds.
What if we told you about closing the windows in the treehouse? He's not listening, is he? He's not.
Yeah.
Of course he's not.
I had to close my window a little bit because not a lot of stuff happens here in lonely Westminster, but when it does happen, it happens quite loud.
I don't open
Sometimes there's trains. Sometimes there's a fire truck that was here earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Much better.
But when there's a train, you hear the train.
Yes.
Because the tracks run right by your college.
Yep. Unfortunately, that Easter Bunny is causing trouble, and we have to take care of it in the most polite way possible.
But bunnies don't lay eggs. That's the weird thing. He gives out eggs. Think about it logically.
Apparently, he does give out eggs. So, you know. However, we do have a show, and I don't want to waste any time because I want to be sure that we get through this agenda not too quickly, but quickly enough so that I'm not holding Naka behind schedule.
I ain't got shit to do. Except for study, but...
on that note, I said note, music, humor. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch things off to Krüz with German expressionism told by metal. Go ahead, Krüz.
Yes. So, remember last week I told you we didn't have stuff about that Rammstein album? Well, now we have it. But we don't have that much. But still, according to Loudwire, members of Rammstein, specifically, I believe the guitar player, synth player, and drummer, have said they're working on several songs for the new album, just yet to be officially announced and given a name. It has been 8 years since they had their last studio album, A Drought, that matches Metallica. We'll keep you posted on details as they come out. But I believe we don't have numbers and stuff yet, but one number that was mentioned, they have at least 6 songs they've worked on so far. So there is a reason to get excited for Rammstein.
And minimum of 6. And yes, Rammstein.
Mann gegen Mann. I remember showing Krüz. I remember showing Krüz that particular music video. It's I showed it to Shudder not too long ago, and it's pretty much a video about homosexuality, and it's neither for it nor against it. I'm gonna go ahead and send it to a friend of mine because
Rammstein is pretty homoerotic, but in a way that's like it kind of like how Judas Priest was, like they're Germany's Judas Priest in a way. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's a way to be, get attention and be raunchy. Like, well, Judas Priest again, "Eat Me Alive." The reason why that song was cited by the I forget what they fucking called it, but Tipper Gore's organization.
I remember. I
it was about
remember
sex.
showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
anything.
Sorry, I remember showing it to Shutter, and he said, "Wow, that video was hot."
Hot.
But yeah, Rammstein. I don't really find myself listening to this particular album, if only because I understand that you don't
Because
have.
it's not out yet.
Well, not only that, I understand, like, much like Baby Metal, you don't have to understand the language in order to enjoy the songs that are produced. But I don't know, like, unlike Baby Metal, Rammstein kind of has like this one, I want to say,
Spit it out, boy.
I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the right word to say. Like, it seems to have like this fan base where even though like all the fans are probably speaking English, they are enjoying a band where they can't understand a single word they're saying, and that just kind of is interesting to me.
Yeah, they're pretty much they're kind of like have the Sex Pistols image of, like, the Sex Pistols in the UK back in the day were censored, and they're kind of sometimes that same way in Germany. Like some German people don't like them just because they're so out there and raunchy shit. So their fan base is generally outside of their home country, actually. So yeah, I mean, they do have some lyrics in English, but it's used sparingly. Well, in America in particular, "We're all living in America." That's basically in English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have reason to be excited. More shit is coming. Metal is coming back, and it is here to stay.
Yes.
Yes. So, what do you think about Rammstein, Naka? You didn't really say anything about it.
Du hast.
Du hast mich.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means. I just know it's a Rammstein song.
Means
There
like
you
you have the meaning of that song "Du hast" is still under debate. Like, it's kind of ambiguous, but that's kind of the point. There is also a music video someone made of the SpongeBob episode where they play in the dome
go. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
to that song. It's so awesome.
I-
Somebody
I'm
did that
waiting-
with Hardwired.
I am waiting
Nice.
for the day where they actually sing that song in the actual Super Bowl, because that would be great if they did.
Do do do. Winner takes all.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Wait, you were referencing the whistle? I love that part.
Look, we gotta move on. I'm sorry.
Yep,
I'm sorry. I have to rush things.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a whole ton to get through, fortunately. Next, we have Green Day. They're doing stuff. They're going to partner with, I'm going to butcher this name real quick, Abramorama.
No, you didn't butcher it.
I don't know. I feel like I've said it weird. I don't know. But it's a weird name to begin with. So, Green Day and fuck, now I can't say it, are going to produce a documentary about the East Bay punk scene. And this is also from Loudwire. They are a site and Twitter account I recommend following if you're into getting latest stuff on rock and metal music. Green Day. Yeah, they're going to help produce a film called Turn It Around, which is a documentary directed by Corbett Redford about the Bay Area punk scene where Green Day themselves started out. The film would be narrated by Iggy Pop himself and feature Green Day, obviously, Kirk Hammett from Metallica, Kevin Noodles Wasserman from The Offspring, Jello Biafra and East Bay Ray from the Dead Kennedys,
Awesome.
which I know Naka appreciates, Brett Gurewitz and Jay Bentley from Bad Religion, Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, Larry Lalonde from Primus, and more. The details are in the link included. I've seen I haven't seen. I mean, I've listened to an audiobook. I forget who did it, but there was an audiobook on Green Day's history, which is pretty interesting. So I feel like if I can get a chance to somehow see this, I don't know if it's coming out in theaters. We will find out more. But I would love to see this because I'm very, very interested in Green Day being my all-time favorite band.
I would definitely
Enough fan service.
Enough fan service. I want to go see this just because, well, The Offspring and the Dead Kennedys. That it's punk. It's punk music. Who can turn down punk music?
Yeah, it's the Gilman. It's the 923 Gilman Street scene. You know, where a lot of punk bands from that area, they had their start there. So
I'm really surprised, like, all these bands, like, I don't understand this. Do all these bands, like, know each other? Like, do they just have a brotherhood relationship?
Sort of.
in some cases they do. I don't know. Oh, at least with Metallica, Slayer, and Exodus, because some of the members were in other bands. Kirk Hammett was in Exodus.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know, Dave Mustaine was in Metallica. Now he's in Megadeth. So it's because they kind of formed out of the same, I don't know, same base area. Yeah. And then, yeah, besides that, they tour together, sometimes get to know each other. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're all for the same cause.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is sort of a film about musical brotherhood in a way. And, yeah. Primus.
You know,
Primus is a special band.
Yeah, it is. I'm not a huge fan of the punk rock scene. I find it interesting that they're kind of they're talking about the Bay Area punk scene when you have other bands who are known for being like in metal bands. You have bands that are classical, bands that are more, you know, like all these different kinds of just, you know, music artists that are coming in to create something that's a little bit interesting. So I'm not too sure if I should see it or not.
You should.
It would be, at least, you know, it would will expose you to more of the culture behind the music, which is also, it's not like that's what makes you a fan, but that, you know, makes it easier to understand, you know, what they do and all that.
Yeah,
and then of course you have the fact that Kirk Hammett, you know, thrash metal was influenced heavily by punk, and of course Slayer doing that entire cover album of punk songs. What's it called? In Undisputable Attitude. Yeah, it's a fucking awesome album.
What do you think, Knock? Are you gonna see it?
I've already said my opinion. I'm totally gonna go see this.
Okay.
We're totally down to see it, yeah. And speaking of somewhat old metal,
Smoke on the water.
Deep Purple, yes.
Nobody
I'm talking about.
gonna take my car. I'm gonna race it to the drum.
We're talking about that Deep Purple. They are still here, and they're gonna make an. Let me start over because that was dumb. One of the most influential bands, I butchered that again, in the formation of heavy metal in the 70s, Deep Purple will be releasing what may be their final studio album, Infinite. They are known as one of the members of the so-called unholy trinity of British hard rock and heavy metal, along with Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. If you know anything about rock, you've no doubt heard the Smoke on the Water riff more times than you can count. While iconic guitarist Ritchie Blackmore is no longer in the band, last I've heard of him was he was doing a sort of a Renaissance type music, I believe with his wife, which is all the power to him. It's, you know, cool personal experiment. It's great to see it. They're still holding on, and it does not sound like an aged band. It sounds like pretty modern. So I'm pretty excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Purple.
Mainly just because they're so influential.
Yeah, that's.
You know, I was listening to a Deep Purple song. I'm not too sure if you heard the song Highway Star. I'm pretty sure you have, but you know.
Yeah, I've known Highway Star.
have.
There's even, fun fact, there's a reference to it in Overkill's album, The Grinding Wheel. Yep. difference. Grabbed the tape from the floor of the car, jammed it in the dash, it played Highway Star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it just shows like they've been such an influential band that's kind of, so what it said seemed to say about them was that they were kind of trying to find the right time to sort of just, end it like Black Sabbath did. So I think they're kind of pursuing that same end, but I think they're going to go out on a big note with what looks to be so far an impressive album.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Yeah, I know Naka is pressed for time, so we're gonna
Well,
to the
We have an
I
opinion
just-
poll.
one more thing.
We still have plenty of time. Nakainu's not going to be late anytime soon.
Scott running away.
I'm sorry, I get stressed out about these things. Living with anxiety can be hard.
All right.
I understand too, but anything else?
We're not even going that fast. We've only been talking for 20 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like the time now is the time we wouldn't have even started yet in a normal show, so it's kind of weird to me. Yeah.
Yeah. But Deep Purple, I was listening to this song and it was interesting to note that their musical voice kind of changed over the years, but I'm not too sure. I don't know. It just feels like their musical voice really, really changed.
Yeah. When you have this is another British, Judas Priest, they're one of the rare bands that one of their albums, none of their albums sound the same as each other. But then you have obviously Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore, the guy of the band is not there anymore, but they've still persisted, since then. And, forming without him has kind of changed their sound, obviously. Meanwhile, Black Sabbath still has Tony Iommi. Oh yeah, Richie Blackmore's in Rainbow too with Dio. I believe with Dio. Yeah. I don't know if they were there at the same time. But yeah, he's one of the formation of heavy metal came from blues rock and psychedelic rock, and that's what Deep Purple was. So I think to kind of pursue that sound to this day is pretty impressive.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Shutter, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Slow motion Walter, fire engine guy.
Slow motion Walter, the fire engine guy. Tonight is the night that I fell asleep at the wheel.
God damn it.
I remember my sister, one time we were on vacation a few years ago, she kept saying that over and over again. I was like, where is that from? Oh, it's a Bare Naked Lady song. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, so we were talking about this Nostalgia Critic earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So he released a video about bad singers in videos.
You mean in movies and film?
Yeah, videos, movies. Yeah, same thing. God damn it. Anyway, the question, the main question about it is, should bad singers be dubbed? And as Scarfy noted about Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast, some singers just don't have the pipes. But the Nostalgia Critic brings up a good point. Sometimes that bit of error is necessary depending on what the song needs. Additionally, so-called talk singing doesn't need to be done by a singer. It even sounds better when done by an actor who may not be known for singing, such as Robin Williams in Aladdin.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace, Robin Williams. His conclusion, actors can be forgiven for vocal errors if their sound is what the song needs. But if the song needs to sound perfect, then dubbing is acceptable provided it is done right and does not take away from the film with a noticeable shift in tone, as he shows in the video. In some cases, it sounds pretty ridiculously off. Like The Lion King, the voice changes significantly. I didn't even notice that until now.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing, Emma Watson probably should have been dubbed, and since there's no shortage of British singers, I don't think that they would have had any problem with this. Yeah.
Fortunately, we did miss. I don't mean to get off topic, but unfortunately, we did miss two big artists that were coming out. 2 Chainz and Pentatonics, but unfortunately we couldn't find albums for those, so Yeah, too bad.
You already know about enough about 2 Chainz. Fucking whatever.
2 Chainz sitting sideways. Actually, no, that's Paul Wall.
Pentatonics is pretty good though.
We've heard about them.
But anyway,
I
back
have heard about
on topic. This is Emma Watson cannot sing to save
Nope.
her life. She just can't. I don't understand why they chose her out of all places, but
Out of
whatever.
all people.
What are you gonna do? I mean, the movie's already been made, but he brings up a good point. You know, if you can fit it in, if you can change it and make it sound better, then why not? But if it's
Right.
like, if it just sounds forced, like putting the other vocalist in place of the actor, then it can make a bad problem worse. So,
Right.
again, I said British singers, there's no shortage of British singers, so they could have easily found somebody to emulate Emma Watson's, what her singing voice would have sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Naka?
Honestly, the only reason why I like Les Miserables, Russell Crowe's singing, is because of a YouTube poop out there called Prisoner 24601 releases a sandwich on parole. It's the
I love
only
that.
reason why I like
And
that.
I'm Chauffeur!
And I'm
Judge
Javert.
Bear.
I just love it.
That video's fucking great.
But, I mean, when I watched Beauty and the Beast, I thought her singing was alright, then I listened to the original song, I was like, wow, this is shit.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
kind of like...
wait. You were listening to Emma Watson singing, and you didn't realize how shit it was, did you?
Not at the time, no.
Not immediately. You don't notice immediately. You have to, like... It has to... You have to listen to the... First of all, the original, and then sort of think, like, maybe this wasn't the best way they could have done it.
And the original is obviously better because it's sung by an actual Broadway singer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they just...
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about. I love how Nostalgia Critic pokes fun that Emma Watson is trying to be the new Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, but Emma Watson playing Kristen Stewart playing Belle.
Belle.
I was like, God damn it. She was trying to be Kristen Stewart. It's like Kristen Stewart in a nutshell. One thing was like her picture of her expressionless face. It's like at first I was like expressionless face.
And then I was like
It
expressionless
was like
face.
same face.
Dude, imagine if they put her in a musical. Oh God, no.
You would have to dub her, and then you would deserve the shit you got for trying to dub Kristen Stewart.
They didn't dub Emma Stone in La La Land, so that was pretty cool. They actually, her voice didn't sound perfect by any means, but it sounded, like she was actually auditioning, which is actually pretty cool. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about bad singers being dubbed, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a bad singer for a movie, just get dubbed, please.
Pretty much.
I mean,
Bella.
I'm a person that goes for subs over dubs, but in this case, just dub it.
Yeah.
The only exception being if, you're doing this thing, they finally got a term for it, talk singing. If you're doing that, that's fine because you don't really need to sing it. You're sort of, talking through it. But if you're trying to sing and everyone else knows you can't sing, you gotta dub. There's no shame in taking the dub.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It might make you actually sound better.
Yeah.
But now we'll move on to Naka's thing, which will start.
It's PlayStation
with
games.
Death.
Well, Drawn to Death specifically, a third-person PvP game with hand-drawn art creations fighting it out to the death in a hand-drawn arena. And exclusive for PS4, like I said, it's PlayStation exclusives this week. It allows 4 players duking out in an arena, shooting each other, set to be inside the pages of an edgy teenager's notebook. Meaning hand-drawn visuals. So yes, there is juvenile humor and tone to the art, and it is hand-drawn. Somebody who's like bored in math class and is like, oh hey, I'm gonna draw this magical tower that somehow shoots spikes from itself.
Yeah, and they have the weird ass characters. One girl with a shark head, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You pick
Stuff
a
like
character, then you pick your arena, with each character having their own behaviors and traits and stuff. But there's a kicker. Since this game is made by the dude who thought of the Twisted Metal series, which are great games, by the way, you should play them for the PlayStation, it can be fast-paced, insane, especially as how one weapon is a lizard that's a flamethrower. It does look fun, but since I don't have a PS4, I can't get it on April 4th, but you can, Scarfy.
I was actually looking at this game and I was like, this actually kind of... I love the art style of it, much like the game that we were talking about that involved ASCII codes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very, very interesting game, and I was really surprised to find how raunchy it really is.
Whenever it's made by the dude who thought of Twisted Metal, you know it's going to be raunchy. Because Twisted Metal is insane.
I actually thought of Lollipop Chainsaw, to be honest, when I was thinking of this, but that's that's a pretty good game too.
It does kind of have the same, somewhat similar art style to it. The kind of faux 3D kind of thing. But yeah, I remember Lollipop Chainsaw is it's a special game.
It's a very special game that you can't really get enough of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think having this be, a more like creative kind of, multiplayer arena game, it, kind of is a breath of fresh air from the, shooters, which are, in most cases, if you played one, you played them all. But with this, it's it brings a fresh,
I am convinced that Goichi Suda is part of this production team, aka Suda 51. If you ever played the No More Heroes trilogy, which if you haven't, you really need to, because they're amazing games despite being on the Nintendo Wii. But
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of that, but I don't know what it is specifically. No More Heroes.
No More Heroes is basically a game about a guy trying to be number one so that he can get laid. I kid you not, that is the entire plot of the story. Look it up, and it's actually kind of good.
It also sounds like one of the Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm.
I think, there's one guy who's just like a sports personality, is doing the same thing.
Right.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I like the look of this, despite not having a PS4 like a dumbass.
You really need to buy a PS4, man.
You know what I need? I need a Switch.
No, you need a PS4.
Switch. I saw a great picture of it's like when you don't have a Switch, and then it's just a guy watching Zelda Breath of the Wild gameplay on his computer with one of the fidget cubes in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it looks like the fucking controller. I was like, that is me. That is me.
Alright, is that all for Drawn to Death?
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, we're moving on to our other PlayStation exclusive for the week. It was Persona 5, and this is game number 6 in the main Persona franchise, not like game 387,000 in the spin-off franchise. God, there's so many spin-off games of these JRPGs that I can't keep track of them.
I
Final
can't...
Fantasy being one of them.
It's really hard for me to determine Persona, to determine between Persona and Shinigami Tensei. And I can't... Are they the same series or no?
It's technically, Persona is a Shin Megami Tensei kind of franchise-ish thing, but...
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Alright.
But it looks cool.
Yes, but Persona 5 will be set in a high school like Persona 3, but the school life will be completely different. This game's going to deal with experiencing emotions of joy after overcoming trials, freeing yourself of your own chains, as represented by an ad campaign that had chair and chains motifs.
Just so you know, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4 was actually released in 2008 and was made for the PS2. This is Persona 5, and it's made for the PS3 and PS4. That is insane.
You just spoiled it, what I was going to say later.
Well, go
That
ahead.
was his job!
Sorry, my bad.
That was my
just
job, you idiot.
Well, I was just researching.
Hans, he got to knock down the London bridges and sing the song!
I was just researching. Go ahead.
There's even an Italian anime that was released just before the game came out in Japan, and it was essentially just a special prologue chapter that led into the story. Speaking of story, I would go in depth without being spoiler free. But because there's so much to talk about, I'd take an hour, and we don't have time for that this week. I'm sorry. But it's your typical Persona game for 2017. It's out on April 4th for PlayStation 3, which is weird. Not even the Xbox 360 has game support anymore.
Well, I mean, they even released games for the Xbox 360 when certain games were being released because they figured at that time, oh well, not everyone has an Xbox One, so.
I mean, I get it when it was 2013 and when these new consoles are coming out, but it's 2017. Seriously.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you have the generation, or not generation really, but the group of people who are starting Xbox on the Xbox One, like myself, and they, as that base increases, you can just lay off of 360. But some people just don't want to upgrade, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though they're kind of stupid, because, I mean, I get it. The 360 was a great system. The Xbox One is better.
Mm-hmm.
Just from a technical and, just the way that it's supported. They've handled a lot more situations with the Xbox One with a lot more care and attention than the Xbox 360, so...
Right. I totally see what you mean.
That and the port of Forza Horizon 2 for the Xbox 360 is so bad they've never even patched it.
Wow.
It's bad when they just don't talk about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And you can also buy Persona 5 for the PS4, where you can spend more money on 2 special editions that come with more stuff.
More stuff.
But why? Why still the PS3? Come on, people. I mean, I get that Gran Turismo 6 came out in 2013 and people still play it, but the Gran Turismo Sport Beta is going on right now. For the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, rant over.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say regarding the Persona series other than that, hey, it may interest you guys. I know that a lot of people really liked certain Persona games, but I haven't really, oh my god, not the PC Master Race. I don't like PC Master Race. I'm sorry.
Go take your shit somewhere else. So the thing is, we all know that PC could do everything better. Yeah, we all know that. You've only told us a million fucking times.
Anyway.
But it's the ergonomics that I dig, the controller, having that controller in your hand. PC Master Race can't do that.
All right.
Yes, they can.
Although, well, not as well.
Okay, well,
It
Persona
doesn't have the soul behind
Yeah.
it.
I don't want you guys to feel like I'm giving Persona 5 a hard review. I think it looks cool. It's just I haven't played the other Persona games, so I can't really, say how I feel about it because
Goodbye, 1,000 hours of your life. Just trying to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, it's more difficult. It's more convoluted than the Kingdom Hearts story franchise, which gets very, very heavy-handed the more storylines you play, but there's so much fun to play, you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Except for the water level. In 1 and 2. I heard that was really shitty.
Anyway, that's really all I have to say about Persona 5. Krüz?
Yeah, I knew Persona was a big game, or at least Persona 3 was a big game, but, I never really got to look at it. And now seeing how it is now, it kind of reminds me of what would happen if they took Yandere Simulator seriously with the simulator thing, the school simulator thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Yandere Simulator is just in its own world.
It is.
This is not to be confused with one of those just weird ass games, but I like the looks of it. And if it wasn't a PS4 exclusive, selfish, I would look into it. Yeah,
I would definitely concur with that. Is that all you have to say about it, Naka?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our PlayStation exclusives are over for the week. I do want to mention... Actually, I need to go and check this because I'm stupid. I want to see if Turn 10 / Playground Games has a clue thread for their April DLC, because they usually do that a few days before the DLC comes out, which is always the first Tuesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the first Tuesday of the month. Let's see, I'm just going to check. Dealy-dee. I need to Google this real quick. I am being really stupid.
Hey guys, I'm gonna need to go take a piss. It'll take 2 seconds.
Let's see.
The more time you spend researching this stuff, the more time you're prolonging me taking more time for my film news. Just saying.
All right. No, there's nothing released yet, which means there's probably going to be a trailer tomorrow.
All
It's going
right.
to show all the DLC because it's always the first Tuesday of the month. Anyway, on to movie news with Scarfy and.
Speaking of Sony.
Speaking of PlayStation.
What? What? No, seriously. What? Out of all the people you could have chosen, you choose Troy from High School Musical. Well, it looks like the role for Eddie Brock in the new Venom has been chosen, ladies and gentlemen. And with what little imagined Sony had at the time, it seems that Zac Efron has been chosen to play Eddie Brock in the new Venom film. On top of that, it's rated R, meaning we'll get away with more than what we couldn't before. But really, him, out of all the actors they could have chosen, they couldn't choose someone who was at least better than Topher Grace? I mean, granted, Topher Grace wasn't the greatest Venom actor either, but Sony's making that guy look great compared to what they have chosen for this role. Now, I don't hate Zac as a person because I don't know him as a person, but I've heard of and seen the movies he's been in, and honestly, he just doesn't look the role. At least for me. But I guess I'll see what happens. I mean, I would think one of the high school jocks from Stranger Things would be a better Eddie Brock than Troy Bolton. Anyway,
Troy.
Calm down. Your biased opinion aside, at least we have a Venom movie coming out.
But it has the wrong actor playing it.
Maybe look on the bright side. Maybe this is one thing that Zac Efron does right in his life.
I mean, like, you can't just imagine Zac Efron with spiky hair playing Eddie Brock. I mean, can you really imagine him as the role?
He's kind of becoming somewhat of a Nicolas Cage in a way that you recognize him no matter what he's doing. You see through it and you see him no matter what he's doing.
Yeah. What do you think, Naka?
I mean, I know you're biased about this crap.
I'm not biased about it. I just
I'm not really biased. I'm just uncertain. I'm just like, I mean, if they're gonna go with this guy, I mean, you understand what you're working with. You got to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, I'm not saying that he probably won't do a terrible job unless he really, really sucks. But I'm just gonna wait and watch the movie and just see what happens from there. But like Zac Efron, I just don't think is gonna work here. I don't want it to be a huge disappointment, but like, what do you have to say about him regarding the role, Naka?
I mean, there are several people that could have chosen this role, but
I know.
I guess maybe he's in some sort of contract with Sony right now.
Maybe
that, I don't know, because
We don't know necessarily what led them to make this decision, whether it was just his contract or whether he actually turned out to do a good job, which we're hoping for.
Well, we'll just have to see what he's actually going to be.
Grab your chips faster, boy.
Yes, can you hurry up?
Silence. I was like,
well,
why did everything go silent?
Okay, well, the next time you're pulling up a bag of chips, please.
I'm sorry. It was a giant bag.
Mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Anyway.
Yes, Dad.
Zac Efron playing Eddie Brock. I'll give it a chance. I'll see the trailer. I want to see what it's going to be. I don't have hope for him playing the role. I don't see Zac. I just don't see it. Maybe he'll win me over. Maybe not. That's really all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we can move on to better news, I suppose, if you want to call it that.
From Marvel to DC.
More.
So despite Joss Whedon not being in the limelight for the multitude of Marvel films coming out since Age of Ultron, it seems that DC, I guess, is borrowing him to direct a brand new Batgirl film, the first of its kind. I kind of find it both ironic and funny how Whedon, the guy who's been with Marvel the whole time and directed some of the biggest comic book blockbusters around, is deciding to take it up with DC and create his own vision of how Batgirl should be made. That includes directing, writing, and producing, folks. With this under his belt, doesn't look like anything can go wrong here. Will this finally be the film that gets DC off the ground? I sure as hell hope so, because I'm just going to say this right now. The more that DC continues to fail to impress me, I become more like Fletcher from Whiplash. And yeah, I'm just going to say that right now. Let that sink in for a moment.
Not my fucking tempo.
Yes. What do you have to say regarding this, Naka, Krüz?
I will say, if, because it's been a while since we've had a good DC film, and I know you don't like The Dark Knight Rises, but I do, and I consider that a good
I don't hate The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's a competently made film compared to the other DC films that have been made. I just think that
Bane was not a beautifully done villain.
I just think
I
that
don't have a cup to talk into.
I just think that The Dark Knight was better than The Dark Knight Rises.
I was born in the darkness. You merely adopted it.
But anyway, what do you have to say about this?
Like, really, as long as DC does a good job and not screw up a film,
well, they have Joss Whedon. They have Joss Whedon. That's the problem. Joss Whedon can do anything because he's Joss Whedon.
He does whatever the fuck he wants. I have hope that, besides this, that, I mean, they have Wonder Woman looks promising, but we still don't know how that looks. Yeah, I mean, that movie itself looks promising, and if they can nail both that and a Batgirl movie, I think that'll hopefully, get them off the ground, and, they'll just have to work from there. And if this guy is who you say he is, there's reason to hope, but there's we can't just get our hopes up just yet.
Right.
We'll have to see more when we get more trailers and whatnot.
Yeah. But and you, Naka, what do you have to say?
As long as this film does good, and I mean, this could go into another franchise too, and it'd be like, oh, hey, female superheroes, yay! And I know the SJWs would be super happy and all, and just like equality for women and men.
You know what? They're bitching now about Wonder Woman not having armpit hair because
shut up.
They are. I'm serious.
They're saying it's like
because men find body hair on women gross. Yeah, and there's a fucking reason for it. They're like, because what, you expect her to be, fucking Tarzan? Who are we talking about here? This is Wonder Woman, not Tarzan. Shut the fuck up.
Well, she was raised in the Amazon. I mean,
even they were somewhat civilized.
But yeah,
there's no way to satisfy them. In fact, the greatest way to piss off an SJW is to do literally nothing. They will have a problem with you, and they will create it.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about SJWs or the WSJ, Wall Street Journal?
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't know on YouTube, there are a lot of people that make their money off of ad revenue, a lot of smaller YouTubers. And, I mean, we could go to the point to where we can actually, live off of our ad revenue. We could grow up to that point, but...
I forgot, did Wall Street Journal are they descending into...
They're descending into madness right now. Because...
Yeah, and the thing is that people are trying to make it out that YouTubers, like, even PewDiePie and JonTron are, like, quote, hate speech, just because they are not with the, modern, or like, the correct liberal viewpoint. They're not with that, so they're a ideological threat, even though they're really not. It's just a threat to ideological tyranny of the left.
Yes, and
but
I don't.
they're just they're just attacking. They're telling the advertisers not to go on there, not to go on YouTube, and
So
with
there's a
limited.
there's a big revelation that came out today from Ethan from H3H3 Productions, and
God bless him.
yeah, how he actually got in contact because there was an article published by the Wall Street Journal about how advertisers are pulling ads from quote-unquote racist videos.
Right.
And so the guy that actually published this video originally, H3H3 was able to get in contact with him and show that ads were only shown for maybe a 3 or 4 day stretch back in September of 2016. A few days, like maybe a week or two after the video was originally uploaded, and the dude only made like $7 off of it before YouTube's systems realized, oh hey, you can't have the N-word in your title, buddy. I'm sorry. Which
Well,
I mean, that's fine.
That's like saying you can't have the word retarded in the article, and I'm like, bullshit, I can't.
Boy, but let me continue.
Yeah.
So, and then this idiotic writer, I don't even consider him a writer at this point, because really all he is an idiot, decides to Photoshop ads on this video from, it was a few days ago when it had its view count. It wasn't when it was, it wasn't back in September when there were ads showing up on this video. So keep in mind that the view counter has only gone up by maybe 300 views since this story was published.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the images that this guy decided to Photoshop had the same view count.
Oh my.
So yeah, they got
And
caught with their pants down.
And you know what? Ads have not been shown on this video for 7 months. And that in that 7-month period,
You're trying to make it look like they still have ads, but they don't. Yeah, it's like, well, actually,
and
that's a really a trap, because if people go to the video and see that there's no ad, they're gonna be deep shit.
Yeah, and the thing is, the video is now off of YouTube because of this story, I think. Just because, there's advertisers, and YouTube's like, oh, hey, we gotta remove this video because there's ads playing on it. And yet, even though YouTube corrected itself by disabling monetization on it, because you can't have the ad word in your title and expect monetization. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I'm not going to use it just because, like, I know it's in context. I'm not using it as an insult, which is what I forbid using it for.
Yeah. But it's kind of like it's just kind of fun to mess with people who are just hypersensitive about it. Not even people who take offense to it. Like people who take offense to it, I will make sure I don't use it around you because
can we
I
move
care
on?
about how you feel.
No,
But yeah, this whole thing is it's an ongoing issue with YouTube, and
Can we move on?
the guy that.
we just gotta stand strong.
I need to talk for about 90 more seconds, and then we can move on to a crappy movie.
All right.
Yeah. Oh boy.
The guy that originally made like the PewDiePie is racist thing, that article, which you had to pay to read the whole thing.
Which is stupid.
Yep.
He didn't seem to realize that his Twitter from a few years ago would be, you could see his old tweets and how anti-Semitic they were.
Yeah, they brought it. Yep. They brought it up, and they're like, yeah, I love that. They brought up his old tweets. They're like, oh, really? Who's
Double
the
standard.
Yeah, it's
the
a double
anti-Semite
standard.
now?
Yeah. So.
Yep, there you go.
Anyway, I'm done ranting about the Wall Street Journal. I think the people that are more on the newspaper side actually know what they're talking about because it's actual news stories. If it's the website Wall Street Journal, I'm sorry. Stay the hell away from it.
Okay.
Yeah. And the article I
anyway.
told you about earlier, Naka, that was in the physical Wall Street Journal, not the online one. So it was a little more credible.
Can we move on, please?
To the crappy movie?
Yes.
Yes. We're getting way off topic and we're losing followers. Anyway.
Yeah, we're losing followers by the hour. Oh, no.
All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. Smurfs: The Lost Village is a 2017 American 3D computer animated adventure comedy film produced by Sony Pictures Animation and animated by Sony Pictures Imageworks. It is based on the Smurfs comic book series created by Belgian comics artist Peyo and is a reboot film unrelated to Sony's previous line-action animated films written by Stacey Harmon and Pamela Rybin. It is being directed by Kelly Asbury. The film stars Demi Lovato as Smurfette, Mandy Patinkin as Papa Smurf, Joe Manganiello as Hefty Smurf, Jack McBrayer as Clumsy Smurf, Danny Pudi as Brainy Smurf, and Rainn Wilson as Gargamel. Smurfette attempts to find her purpose in the village when she encounters a creature similar to her in the Forbidden Forest who drops a mysterious map. She sets off with her best friends, Brainy, Clumsy, and Hefty, to find the lost village before the evil wizard Gargamel does. Guys, do I really have to spend more time talking about it? I don't really think so. The sad part is that the film is directed by Kelly Asbury, who directed the critically acclaimed Shrek 2, great movie by the way, but unfortunately directed the box office bomb of Romeo and Juliet, which was advertised on TV. A lot. I shouldn't really hate Asbury, though. He's a great filmmaker known for having many different credits and many animated films involved with Disney, DreamWorks, and even Touchstone. But to go from an additional story artist from Frozen, whether you like the film or not, to an animation reboot of some of the critically panned yet financially successful live-action adaptations is pretty, well, for lack of a better word, and hopefully I'm not being, a Nazi, retarded. I got nothing. There's nothing for adults here. I don't even think there's anything for kids here unless you're a toddler, but we don't stream set for toddlers, so bang goes that theory. So why are we talking about it? I guess because it's coming out and we didn't want to forget. That's really all we have. Personally, I'm skipping it. If you want to waste your time and money seeing it, the film releases April 7th, but there's not much to be gained from watching a film like this. At least, I don't think there is.
Sony's good at rebooting.
They really
movies.
are. Well, actually, I would say they're number one compared to J.J. Abrams, who reboots a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was the Spider-Man trilogy, and then there was the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and now the Spider-Man Homecoming. They rebooted the Spider-Man franchise twice.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're rebooting the Smurfs franchise? What the hell?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this film. I pretty much
Stick to making video games, not movies, Sony.
I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing this pile of garbage movie.
Sony's, their magic with movies is expired. This, I think, the whole purpose of this was to fight the so-called Smurfette trope, which they point out. There's only one. It's the token female character. And people, I guess, were so upset about that to the point where they had to make... I think the other villagers are mostly female, or if not all female. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. But something like that, a grievance like that, is not an excuse to make a shitty movie on top of an already, established shitty movie franchise.
One of my friends...
So, it's not helping your cause, really.
So I'm just going to tell you right now, one of my friends just said to me, one of my friends got me to watch Chipmunks the Squeakquel. I'm like,
why?
Oh, God. Why?
I don't know, because... oh, God. Why? I don't know. I have nothing else to say. Do you want me to move on?
Yes, because we don't need to talk about this movie.
No, we don't. Let's move on. Sorry, guys. Smurfs, we don't really care. Let's move on.
Yay.
All right, questions for Freeman, Kane, and Arkin. Who did you all sell your soul to play these roles? Because it's certainly not the devil, because you each have such a greater wave of success. Regardless, however, Going in Style is an upcoming American heist comedy film and a remake of the 1979 film of the same name, directed by Zach Braff and written by Theodore Melfi. The film stars Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, Alan Arkin, Joey King, Matt Dillon, and Anne Margaret. Three seniors who are living Social Security check to check and even reduced to eating dog food at times decide they have had enough. So they plan to rob a bank. Problem is, they don't even know how to handle a gun. In other words, it's a social commentary on growing old in America and what we are sometimes driven to due to circumstances. I don't really know how to give an opinion on this movie, considering it's based off the 1979 film, which sadly I haven't seen. So my opinion for the most part is indifferent. I'm not going to say I'm not going to see it, and I'm not going to say it I'm on the edge of my seat to see it. Nevertheless, it's another one of those comedy films, much like Las Vegas is a comedy film. I'm sure there's something in this film for you, but if not, well, we found some appreciation in this trailer nonetheless. The film releases April 7th if you're interested. What do you guys think?
I'll let Krüz go first.
Yeah, it kind of. I think they were in a film. Like I forget what it was that, like you mentioned, the Vegas film. I don't know if that's what the title was.
Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I read it wrong. I'm dumb. I do think that these so-called old actors have their banter. I think that's what the purpose of this film. And I mean, for one, I enjoy it, especially Alan Arkin. He's fucking hilarious. There is some just stuff that's just like kind of like that's kind of like somewhat funny, not too funny, but I think they have potential to make shit that's actually funny in this movie. And again, I didn't know there was an original one that adds a new element to it. So I again, this was one I would see in theaters because I don't go to theaters for a whole ton of movies except for one that's like a big movie, like for Beauty and the Beast. I went to the theater. This one I might just see at home at some time.
Yeah.
Because I remember Argo. That one with Alan Arkin and John Goodman. That was pretty damn funny at times.
Right.
So I guess I'll go with Rent for this one.
I mean, for me, I think it'd just be like, it's a good popcorn flick. It's not supposed to be, the Shawshank Redemption or the Dark Knight because, oh, hey, the dude who plays Alfred is in this movie.
Right.
But, it's not going to be one of those, it's not supposed to be critically acclaimed. It's supposed to be a funny movie. It's not supposed to be,
It's for the
well, no, but I guess. Well, I was doing some research, and the 1979 film was actually, really, really good. I just, it's kind of interesting that considering I haven't seen its predecessor, I'm seeing this film, and I honestly don't know what to say about it. So,
Yeah, I was just saying when you add that element to it, you're like, oh shit, there's actually an old one. Basically interesting to look
it kind of makes it awkward when you make a remake of something that always seems so perfect and just wants to squeeze a quick buck out of you. But I'm not gonna. But I don't want to sit here and say that this is going to be a terrible movie. No, I do think it has redeemable.
This is not an admission of guilt. I am just tired.
Yeah, not an admission of guilt.
Yeah,
I am just tired.
Yeah, we are tired, and we have plenty of time. We can take as much time as we need to.
Not necessarily, but okay.
It's only 4:17. Relax. Anyway, regarding this movie, I don't really have much to say about it. Did you pretty much?
I'm in
say
the
your
future.
pieces?
I'm in the future. It's 7:17.
Okay.
Hello from the future.
I'm definitely gonna go give this a chance, just because, I see the advertisements for it, and I'm just like, hey, I want to go see it.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. But anyway, that's really all I have to say about it.
Onward. Upward.
All right, so do you want me to go to the next trailer?
Upward for adventure.
For Narnia and the North.
From the directors of 500 Days of Summer and the Amazing Spider-Man films, this is... What do you mean, ooh?
500 Days of Summer was a fucking awful film.
Okay, well, first off, let me go ahead and research that, because...
it was just...
I don't know, man. It got pretty good reviews. I don't understand why you think it's awful, but...
Yeah, it was just kind of like overhyped for me. Yeah.
All right, well, whatever floats your boat. But anyway, I'm getting a little off track here. Let's continue.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Anyway, from the director of that and the Amazing Spider-Man films, this is easily the most enticing film of the week. Gifted is an upcoming 2017 American drama film directed by Mark Webb and stars Chris Evans, McKenna Grace, Lindsay Duncan, Jenny Slate, and Octavia Spencer. Frank Adler is a single man raising a child prodigy, his spirited young niece, Mary, in a coastal town in Florida. Frank's plans for a normal school life for Mary are foiled when the 7-year-old's mathematical abilities come to the attention of Frank's formidable mother, Evelyn, whose plans for her granddaughter threaten to separate Frank and Mary. Octavia Spencer plays Roberta Franken, Mary's landlady and best friend. Jenny Slate is Mary's teacher, Bonnie. A young woman who's concerned for her student develops into a connection with her uncle as well. The premise, at least for me, is something to be desired. I hear talks about how the mother of the child wanted the niece to be happy, but I hear nothing about the trailer about what the child wants. But I'm pretty sure that's what the trailer is going to lead up to, so I think I'll give that a pass. The film is pretty cool, I think. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it, so we'll just see what kind of stuff it has to offer. The film releases April 7th on a limited release, and we'll get a general release on April 21st if you're interested. What do you guys think?
Well, I do really actually like this. I like the idea of it, even though it just kind of brings up a custody battle of stuff, and I'm not really wanting to get into that stuff just because, let's just say, not like my personal blood biological family who lives in my house. There's other family stuff that's going on that I'm somewhat that's, in my interests, because, it's related to me that I don't really want to get into. That's why I'm just like, this little girl's very smart. I don't know why they have to go to court about it. But, I'm going to send her to school. And it's like, no, I'm going to raise her the way that I want you.
And what do you
don't get me wrong, it's probably a good movie.
Probably. What do you think, Krüz?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, I've had not too much, related to that, but, it's kind of meant to hit on a personal note, that it's kind of, the competing like who really knows what the child's quote unquote best interest is. So that's got an interesting point to bring up. I feel like this is a family film per se. Like my parents would want to see this, and I'd be happy to see it with them. So I don't know. Maybe not something I'd see on my own, but it's a good family film. I think that's gonna it's gonna deliver a lot of positive, somewhat positive emotion. I guess.
You said a lot.
I know a lot.
Okay.
Of something. I don't know what I said.
Yeah, I'm gonna remain indifferent on this one for now. There's not really much for me to talk about here. I'm pretty sure a happy ending is kind of expected in this film. I don't want to be a spoiler, but
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys want me to move on to our coming attractions?
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to our first coming attraction, which sounds like a horror movie, but really is not a horror movie.
I was disappointed by that.
A ghost story. In this singular exploration of legacy, love, loss, and the enormity of existence, a recently deceased white sheet ghost returns to his suburban home to try and reconnect with his bereft wife. I love how well shot this movie is. By the way, Naka, are you going to put it on the thing?
Sorry, I pulled a stupid. I put it up there. Don't worry, it'll show up.
Taking my job, damn it.
Yeah, a ghost story. What do you guys think about this trailer?
I kind of liked. I mean, granted, I expected it to be horror, and I was a little disappointed that it wasn't that. But I do see that they're trying to make it like that. This ghost was trying to, reconnect or trying to make amends with his old life. When normally it's about, you have quote unquote unfinished business in the your past life. Yeah, you still haven't paid off your student loans, so you're not allowed to die yet. Oh, there's like a greater one. It's like me dies, mom. No, you still have to go to school.
Pretty much.
Yeah, normally it's about vengeance and unfinished business in the your past life. So this being that the person it's still hanging around trying to make amends. I feel like that's it's an interesting way to show it. I mean, it's kind of cheesy to show a white sheet. It's actually a white sheet ghost, but I guess that's kind of meant to be more, I don't want to say child friendly, but more like showing that he's a harmless ghost, I guess.
And what do you think, Naka, about this?
I mean, it's definitely good that it's straying away from the usual ghost movie tropes. It's like, I'm going to haunt a place, and I'm going to talk like this for the rest of my life. Ooh.
But not really talk, but not really do any of that, except just to be there and do nothing.
Yep. Do nothing.
I don't really care if you break into my old house. I kind of still live here. I don't care if you break in and steal stuff, cause I'm not alive anymore.
Do you want me to move on to our next one?
Casper.
It's like, it would be a ghost that's friendly and also not friendly at the same time, because he's not trying to be like friends with like random marshmallow people off the side of the street.
Mr. Stay Puffed.
Stay
Sure
Puft
what brings up
Marshmallow Man.
Casper. And then Casper. I mean, not even as friendly as Casper. More like just a, you know, a silent, watchful presence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
To,
Want me to move on?
Franz. Franz Ferdinand. Yeah, I made music jokes. More music jokes, because they're not stupid.
I need to write a Casper script. That'll actually be better than its original Casper script, honestly. But, yeah. Let's move on to our next coming attraction.
Ferdinand?
John Cena! Okay. All right. A bull that would rather smell flowers than fight in bullfights is in the middle of the bull ring.
Rip.
That's the entire thing there.
That is literally the entire, log line. And we'll explain more when the trailer actually comes up. But I find it so interesting that John Cena is taking the animated film picture route. And everyone likes John Cena, whether you think he's a great actor or not a great actor. I personally think he's a great actor, but that's just me, much like The Rock is a really, really fun actor to play with.
Well, I mean, WrestleMania's going on right now, so...
Well, yeah, but just so you know, this trailer is based off the 1936, I believe, children's book. So
I remember that children's book, so I mean... It's been a long time, so I'm interested to see what they do, because I realize the story is too simple to make a movie out of, so they had to add components to it. I don't know. I just hope they do it, in a good way that makes it, I'm willing to give this a chance because it's such an old story that I remember from my childhood. So hope they, I hope they do a good job.
Ghost was such a good movie, by the way, Shudder. I love Ghost.
Ghost.
But anyway,
Toast.
What do you think about Ferdinand, Naka?
Well, for one, I mean, you say it's John Cena, but I can't see him.
John Cena? What do you mean you can't see John Cena?
You don't see me.
Dude.
I get it now. Yeah. Sorry, it took me.
I don't see John Cena. It is Davis.
But yeah. What do you think about this trailer, though?
It's an interesting concept. I actually do think that something like this could work, where it's just like, oh, I want to do something like this. It reminds me of Rock Dog, okay?
Rock Dog.
You know the movie that we talked about a few weeks ago about like some dog in the Himalayas that wants to play music instead of being a guard dog for the sheep?
Yeah, of course. Well, actually, I didn't see that, but yeah.
I've not seen that yet. I realize that.
Neither have I. Anyway, that's what it reminds me of, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in sort of, oh hey, it's likewise.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very interesting trailer, but we'll have to wait until more is announced for this. Anyway, let's move on to our next coming attraction. The Book of Henry. A child genius who lives with his mom lives next door to a girl that he likes and realizes that she may be in danger at the hands of her stepfather and will search for clues to find out about who he really is.
Reminds me a lot of Gifted. Sort of.
Well, you want to know something? I was thinking the exact same thing when I was watching the trailer, and I knew that we were going to be talking about that, but it went from 0 to like at least in the 80 range, like really
went from
quick.
0 to 80 like real quick. It's just like this kid formulates a plan to assassinate this guy.
Whoa, that's not cool.
Detailed, but I think it's because they realize who he is, and they can't just take him down with regular means. They have to resort to, working in the shadows. But I think that's really cool.
In the shadows.
He's a kid genius.
Cannibal, Shia LaBeouf.
I thought you were singing. I thought you. It kind of sounded like you were singing "Everything Is Awesome." Anyway, but anyway, the Book of Henry. Do you think this is a a movie that you would be interested in seeing?
I mean,
think
yeah.
so.
Also,
Yeah.
it's the book of me, technically, because, oh, hey, my first name is very similar to this one, except it's not with a Y, it's with an I. And if you try and look me up with my real name, you'll find about 1 million French people.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. You mean
Henry.
like Henriette or
No.
Henrietta? Okay.
No. No.
The soccer player Henri.
Yeah. Oh, Shutterwolf's dog is named Henry, the book of my doggo.
Book of my doggo.
Yeah, yeah, that's really all I have to say about this coming attraction. Looks interesting. Do you want me to move on to the next one?
Look at me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this chick is in danger of the hands of her stepfather, is this stepfather Jim's
By the way,
stepfather from Catcher in the Rye?
Oh, just something you should also know. This is the father who played Hank in Breaking Bad.
You mean...
This guy. Oh yeah. It is that guy.
yeah.
The same actor. I realize that now. Right. That's cool.
Speaking of Breaking Bad, if people actually have Snapchat, I use it from time to time just to see what stupid filters are on there. There was a Breaking Bad filter today. I'm just like... it was like I was Walter White and then I was Heisenberg. It's like...
I am the one who knocks.
It was like, bitch. And then it transitions, I am the one who knocks.
Let's move to the other coming. Let's move on to our next coming attraction. Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. 2 special operatives must race to identify the marauding menace and safeguard not just Alpha, the City of 1,000 Planets, but the future of the universe as a dark force threatens it. It looks interesting considering that it's coming from the director who directed The Fifth Element, which I'm not too sure if you guys have seen.
I've seen The Fifth Element.
Did you like it?
Yes. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I did like it.
I was trying to watch it, and I was like, man, the special effects are kind of lacking.
Well, it's
But
90s.
Yeah, maybe I should give it another watch. What do you think, Krüz?
Yeah, I mean, I like Dan DeHaan. I've come to like him as an actor. As far as the Fifth Wave, I've not seen it, but my sister has read the book. So I think this might be kind of interesting. I don't know if I'd go see it per se, but I don't think it looks bad by any means. God.
Yeah, I totally can see what you mean. Yeah, there's not really much to say about this one. What do you think, Naka?
For me,
Yeah.
this reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect in a good way. Like the original
Mass Effect,
trilogy,
the
not
movie.
Andromeda. Because Andromeda's a pile of garbage. Nobody ever buy that. Nobody play that game.
Yeah. Or as Best at Nothing calls it, Clown Dromeda.
Yeah, because really, they spent, 4 years? They utilized the Frostbite engine, and it's so buggy and so inconsistent that I just... Why? Why? You made everything worse, EA. That's like... I mean, you took the right direction with Battlefield 1,
Yeah.
but you took the wrong direction with Need for Speed 2015.
Yeah, Ralph, do not go see Chips. You will be really disappointed if you go see it. I would rather go see a film like Life instead, and even I heard that has a very, very twist ending that is, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but
Is it Shyamalan levels of twist ending?
not exactly. It's more so a very, very negative twist ending, but we'll just see what. Yeah. Let's move on to our next coming attraction.
My rant on Mass Effect Andromeda aside.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker attempts to balance his life in high school with his career as the web-slinging superhero. With the help of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, he'll need to fight against his greatest villain yet. What do you guys think?
First of all, Spider-Man, and, he was kind of in an Avengers movie already.
Yeah.
So, this is gonna be good.
And what do you think, Krüz?
I mean, Spider-Man being one of my original all-time favorite superheroes.
And
I'm-
mixed in with Tony Stark, one of your all-time favorite superheroes.
Yeah, Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Batman. You know, that's my crew. That's my crew. I'm glad they're kind of shining light on the. Who is this actor's name? I cannot remember it for the life of me. How he portrays Spider-Man, you know, as you know, being a kid. I just loved how he did that in Civil War. I'm glad they're making this movie.
Yes.
You
The way
know,
that they're making it.
Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig.
There's like, don't do what I would do and don't do what I would not do. There's a little gray area, and that's where you fit in.
So you are excited about this movie, especially considering that it has Iron Man in it.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That is why.
No, they're not going to put Deadpool mixed in with Spider-Man. I think there's like in a binding law saying that they can't mix X-Men with the X-Men universe with the MC universe. But
With the MCU.
yeah, pretty
Actually,
much.
you haven't watched the Ultimate Spider-Man TV series, have you?
No, I haven't. Did they actually mix?
Yeah, there was a Deadpool episode.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you
And It
go.
was about how, and Deadpool was actually part of. It was like he was sort of an Avenger, sort of wasn't. That was actually a pretty good episode of that show. I do recommend watching it.
Okay. Now let's move on to a reboot of a franchise that really hasn't been around, considering that I whenever I watch the original, I can just, sit with a bowl of popcorn and watch just how, great the visual effects were in the late 90s, but also recognize how much time and effort they put into and the creativity and all this stuff.
God, I just remembered. I forgot a joke I was going to do it during the Spider-Man bit.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Spider-Man
The
2
Mummy.
pizza delivery theme. There you go.
I love the Spider-Man 2 pizza delivery theme. Anyway, The Mummy. An ancient princess is awakened from her crypt beneath the desert, bringing with her malevolence grown over millennia and terrors that defy human comprehension. What do you guys think? I know it doesn't have Brendan Fraser, and he kind of faded into obscurity. Really, I haven't seen him acted in like anything.
Yeah, that was
It's like, what happened to all these?
Good actors. I don't know what happened.
Whatever happened to Brendan Fraser? He's probably doing something. I don't know.
He's probably
He has a
doing well.
life. He has a life, I would imagine. Or, sniffing blow off a hooker's ass.
What do you guys think of this particular trailer?
I mean, I do remember watching The Mummy. I think it was The Mummy 3 was the one where it was like in China or whatever.
Oh, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Yeah, that one I do remember.
That movie was awful.
I really liked it.
Really, that movie was not really good. I heard the first one was like the best. But
I think I only saw the Dragon Emperor one. I mean, granted, it was kind of, I could see it was kind of like just...
Mhm.
But, I think this one has a good chance to be a good reboot for once.
Yeah.
Especially, you have so much destruction and epic awesomeness.
But yeah, I haven't seen Brendan Fraser in like anything. Like he hasn't been in a single film since 2014.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what's been going on with that type of thing, but
Maybe he's just had real life stuff to deal with.
maybe so, but I don't know. I don't know. Like they're kind of just. I mean, he's 48 and he still has plenty of life left in him. I don't understand why he just doesn't take the time to really, try and do something with it. But no, I like the first Mummy, so I'm kind of wondering how this one is going to work if it works out at all.
Don't get me wrong. I think the original Mummy is still great. I hope this does really well.
Yeah, me too. But the list of coming attractions that I have just listed don't even come close to what came out this week, which I am super, super excited about. Ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you for spoiling it, Krüz.
Boy.
No one can understand what I'm saying. They don't listen to death metal.
All right,
At least some of
well,
them don't.
anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, the movie that I am super excited for, It. In a small town of Derry, Maine, 7 children come face to face with life problems, bullies, and a monster that takes the shape of a clown called Pennywise.
Well, not only is he a murderer, he's a child molester.
Yeah.
That's a clown stereotype. Anyway.
No, that's just Pennywise.
Well, anyway, I'm just going to say this right now. I have never been excited for a horror film ever. 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 Excuse me, sir. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do?
That sounds
Well, you better let the poor guy out. I just love
That sounds painful, Prince Albert.
Well, have you ever? I love Tim Curry as Tim Curry is a lot of fun, but this is a different It played by Bill Skarsgård. I saw the trailer for this, and I'm not gonna lie. Wait, what?
Nothing. I'm just making my lock lip joke.
Okay, well, what do you think of this trailer? Like, this is the horror film that I really want to see.
Well, I want to see Maximum Overdrive be remade, or Christine, but that's just because
You're only saying
cars.
that because they have cars in them.
Yes, that's exactly why.
But seriously, if you go back, I'm just gonna say this right now, guys. If you go back,
Pennywise murder and molest children in 4K.
I'm just gonna say this right now. If you guys go see the original it is not that scary. It really is not that scary. Like, I'm not even kidding. Tim Curry, were people really? I guess if you were a child, you could be afraid of him, but he's really not that scary when you're an adult watching it. And I'm not gonna lie, this is the trailer that this is the movie that I really want to see the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just gonna say that right now. What do you guys have to say regarding this?
I hope they do this one better, because
the trailer is already showing that it's going to be better than the miniseries.
But I don't know. I mean, it might be just personal bias, but I just think nothing has come close since The Conjuring. Just besides, I forget what other movies, but I think this one has a potential to be a very good horror movie. Maybe this one is going to be better than the original.
By the way, did you know that it's starring Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things?
Yes.
By the way, I'm just going to type that in right now before he beats me to it.
Finn Wolfhard?
No, Finn Wolfhard. I'm just going to say that right now. Coolest last name ever.
Oh, that's.
But this is but I can't stop talking about this trailer. I really can't. What do you think about this trailer? Like, what is the number one thing that intrigued you so much about this trailer, Krüz?
I feel like they actually took some of it seriously, and they not wanted it to seem like too much like clown. It's semi scary, it's meant to be funny, but it's something funny that's meant to be scary, like cloud horror, how that is. I feel like they kind of actually just sort of stepped back from that, emphasizing the clown much, and they emphasize more of the sort of depth, physical depth and despair of bringing back the you're all gonna float down here, you all float.
I kind of wonder what that phrase is supposed to mean.
You all float. Like, they'll float. I guess they'll float. They'll be dead. They'll float like dead fish. I guess that's the meaning of it. Yeah. What do
you think about this trailer, Naka? Like, what is the one thing that enticed you about this trailer the most?
Well, the fact that they're Pennywise.
Okay. Well, other than that, what else intrigued you?
The fact that it's also Finn Wolfhard.
Well, yeah, and they're using. I haven't really seen any special effects at all in this particular trailer.
Practical effects for the win.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And that's what made The Conjuring so successful, and I think that's what hopefully they're going for here. You know, so that's why it shows promise. That's why I'm personally a little excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then because I love all things horror, the good and the bad of it.
Yeah. And what's your opinion as Stephen King as a writer?
I think he's a phenomenal writer.
Oh.
He's they don't call him the king of horror for they call him a king of horror for a reason. I was dumb for saying other things like that, but
I kind of want to know how many people in the chat are actually going to see this movie, because the movie alone has 20 million views on YouTube. Let that speak for itself.
The trailer or the original?
The trailer.
Wow.
Like
that's a lot.
yeah.
Not so much as a tweeter. He's kind of a brainless virtue signaler, but that's every writer nowadays.
Yeah, well, I what else do I have to say about this trailer? I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm realizing, like, oh man, like you give that I think Bill gives Georgie a hug, and that was the one thing that just really like captivated me to continue watching it. I'm like, oh, and I'm just kind of wondering. I want to see this film. I've never been this excited for a horror film, and I can't stop gawking about it even as we're talking about it. I'm super excited. I'm gonna try and avoid all spoilers. Ratings. I'm avoiding all spoilers. I don't really care. By the way, guys, I just want to let you know that I know that some of you are really afraid of this movie.
Don't be.
Don't be afraid of the original, because the original was campy and cheesy. Yeah, it really is.
It was they're trying to make it scary when it just really wasn't going to. I don't even know if at the time it would have been too terribly scary.
I mean, I like Tim Curry because Tim Curry is a great actor. I just personally want to see it because it has 20 million views. It's already getting 20 million views. I wouldn't be surprised if the Fine Brothers, as much as I really don't like them, are going to take their Teens React and have them react to this film. I wouldn't be surprised. If they didn't, more power to them. But yeah, this... Like, if you want to go see the original, I would highly recommend watching Nostalgia Critic's review of it, because he plays the Stephen King drinking game to really calm your nerves, because there really is a lot of people are afraid of the original, and I don't understand why. It's not really that scary, and it's more campy than it is serious, but and anyway, well,
is it hosted in a small town in Maine? Well, that didn't take long.
Yeah, pretty much. I would just say go watch the Nostalgia Critic it review, which I think you'll enjoy more than you'll actually enjoy the movie, and just realize I was afraid of this. This is more hilarious. Why would I be afraid of something? But anyway, guys, I've gawked long enough about it. That is the end of our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to our mailbox.
We actually have mail, and we have 2 emails.
Yes.
Yes. Well, the first one is from Kyle, and hey, you awesome wolves, I wish you a great evening. Sorry I'm not able to attend this Sunday's episode. P.S. Krüz baseball season starts with Cubs versus Cardinals.
Yep, let's go O's and Nats, but most importantly, Orioles.
And signed with peace. And then we have stuff from Ralph, where he has generic questions. What first introduced you to the furry fandom?
I'll just go ahead and say this right now. I think what kind of introduced me to the furry fandom was that I was tweeting with Lucagen, and then I actually saw a furry Twitter account that was tweeting to Lucagen, and then I just looked at his account. I realized he was a furry, and I just started asking him all these bizarre questions, because you're a noob. You do that. You want to sometimes you have to ask certain questions and really understand what people are talking about. So I started getting into the furry fandom, but I kind of knew about it long before, I kind of knew about it like the minute Nostalgia Critic reviewed Rockadoodle, when Edmund goes, "Jeepers, I'm a fooey." And I just
Kid, I think you're a little too young to know what that means.
And I'm an adult, and I don't even know what that means.
I know, nor do I wish to find out. But yeah, that's really all I have to say regarding that.
I was just looking at pictures
and,
of wolves one day, really, and it was like, oh, hey, this stuff. It's like, oh, I really like this.
And you just had a revelation.
Then I had a revelation. It was like, okay.
For me, like my sister was a furry before I was, and she's not in the fandom anymore, but she continued to do some art from it, and she helped me to sign my persona, so she kind of gave me that push into it. But I made the decision after that to actually be engaged in the fandom. So since then I felt like it was something special. I enjoyed it. It led me to meet with a bunch of great friends, such as you guys here, and so I just took up the furry fandom creed and never looked back.
Yep, that is correct, people. And I
All right,
guess
question number
hold
2.
on. I guess what got me into choosing a wolf was because Twilight Princess explanation, which you can watch in a different episode. But anyway, continue.
All right, question number 2. What is your favorite thing about the fandom?
Pause.
Well,
It's your answer. Really, for me, it's very open and welcoming. It's like you can be whoever you want. You can have your own acceptable little, badoinky doink areas if you're into that stuff.
okay.
But I just like making friends, and I talked about this before, but meeting Shutterwolf was definitely one of the best days I've ever had in the fandom, because he's just, god damn, he's just so gentle, and he's so sweet.
He really
I still
is.
have yet to meet Shutter, and Shutter, by god damn it, you better still be in the fandom when I see your ass. All right.
Yeah. Shutter is just a very, very nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoy, obviously, the friends the fandom has led me to have, and interacting with other people, in real life at conventions, stuff like that is. I feel like that's the end goal of it all. That you're finding these people who are kind of like you, and you have a good time together, and that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Other than pause, the only other thing I could say is just the fact that it's just, I feel like I have more friends than I actually do have in real life. I have more friends online than I do have real life. I know it's very, very sad, but sadly, that's kind of what it's come down to. I understand it's not the greatest decisions to make, but when you're in a community that is just so welcoming and so heartwarming, and you just have all these different kinds of people just wanting to get to know you, and you
Except
can
for
get
the
to know
elitist
them.
poppy furs.
Yeah.
Except
Well-
for the elitist poppy furs that won't accept you into a Telegram chat group because they think you're not as good, even though you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like Two Griffin.
Yeah, and some people are just, they let the fame get to their heads. What my goal is to be a bridge from that, to be like, be not too famous or popular, but to be somewhat, influential, to kind of, be a positive presence in the fandom. That's what I want to do. And to spread shenanigans and all that.
Mm-hmm. All right, question number 3.
Right.
Question number 3. What do you dislike about the fandom?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would kind of say it's a tie between drama versus the amount of. I do kind of think that some of the. I understand that it's the fandom, and fandom. All artists have their own unique way of practicing their freedom of speech, but I kind of wish that when Zootopia was in the process of being made, they kind of just decided to, make porn of the characters before the movie had even come out, realizing, oh, well, the movie was actually pretty good, and now the porn that is being made is actually quite tasteless. And I guess that's just my beef with it. I understand it's pretty much an inevitable part of the fandom that really can't be, you can't really fight, but it is what it is. And I can't find anything else to really, hate about the fandom. I guess if it came down to it is the fact that I actually had two acquaintances of mine. I'm not going to name who they are, but I'll just say they kind of treated me as if they were the popular kids in high school. And, you know, when that happens, I kind of just, you know, try to search them out, and I kind of just, you know, went their separate ways, minding my own business, not really doing anything. But, you know, that's really all I have to say regarding that. I guess the other thing that I wish in the fandom is that I wish there was also more maturity and more compassion and understanding, because there is a lot of immaturity in the fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but yeah, that's
I
really...
I really have three things. It's one, it's immaturity and not being able to understand that other people have emotions. Second of all, it's Nazi furs. They can fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another Dead Kennedys joke. Yeah.
And Antifa furs too. Fuck them in particular, because not everyone has, no matter what your ideology is, not everyone has to have the same viewpoint as you, and not everyone who has a different or even, you know, somewhat altered viewpoint as you, from you, is, they're not evil, they're not racist, they're not Nazi, just because you don't like them. You know, that's the that kind of goes hand in hand with immaturity.
And I have one last
right.
thing. People who are assholes to my friends in the fandom for no reason.
Yeah, and then what's the third thing?
That was my third thing.
Oh, well, what was the second thing? I wasn't listening.
My second thing was Nazi furs.
Oh, well,
And
yeah,
my first thing was immaturity.
You know, speaking of Nazi furs, I do hear that they were trying to like hold down like a couple rooms that were being like 25% of the hotel was bought by the furry raiders. Now I'm not going to go ahead and you know, jump into a topic like this, because here in SET we kind of want to avoid drama. That's kind of our main goal. We want to avoid all drama and political
Subscribe
talk
to
as much as
Keemstar
possible.
if you want to listen to about
Good luck with that. Hey,
Yeah,
what's
pretty
up,
much.
guys.
Yeah, but you know, I do kind of like there was a comparison. I think they bought like I think the Furry Raiders bought like 25% of the rooms at Arizona FurCon, and then like you compare that to MFF, which thankfully sold out, because MFF, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I am glad that they were bought out by genuine people who really wanted to enjoy themselves in the furry fandom. But another thing that I would also like to point out is that I kind of wish that they would have limited the rooms that you could buy. That way other people can, you know, other people could have a chance to have a room to themselves. But that's really all I have to say regarding it.
And
There are
Krüz.
people who just want to
And you,
cause
Krüz?
shit. Yeah, there are people who just
you,
want to
Krüz?
cause. Yeah, kind of like that.
Immature drama.
The Raiders, the people who want to cause shit. They're just doing it for attention, really, or they're just doing it to be edgy. You know, it's you're making it a bigger deal than it actually is, because there's very few people they're actually impacting or harming. So you can kind of just, you know, quit your virtue signaling and actually do something productive with your life. I don't know. That's just an unpopular opinion.
So, just real quick, what is Antifa? I don't know what Antifa is, because I have a friend who was saying anti-fur furries. That's a thing.
They're anti-fascists, which their platform is basically vandalism and violence is the answer to stopping Trump. That's basically
no, it's not.
Well, that's
No,
what they
it's
believe.
not. Sorry.
That's what they believe.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say regarding that. Is that all?
We have one final question.
Okay.
Are all of you on Furry Amino? I have no idea what that is, so I'm just going to say no.
Furry Amino is... Oh, if you don't know what Furry Amino is, it's this new app that they created. It's basically the G-rated version of the G-furry... It's the G-rated furry version of Twitter.
Pretty much. I mean, it's sort of Tumblr structured, but, you know, in terms of, you know, just visual, you know, what do you call it? The visual setup. But I kind of enjoy it, you know, to some degree, because, you know, you're allowed. It's more focused, I guess, on furry stuff. But then again, you don't have the there's no
You're free
stuff on it. It's
Yeah,
it's safe for work. It's SFW.
It not only that, but your free speech is kind of
You have to
limited.
play by the rules, which
Pretty
is a pain
much,
in the
and-
ass in general.
And I don't understand why furries would want to sign up for this unless you kind of want to find an escape route to not be on Twitter all the time. I personally think Twitter is a much more better.
Yeah, I main Twitter, obviously. Twitter is my main, but for me, there's some stuff that's good on there. It's not worthless, I don't think.
Oh no! It's not worthless. It's just not something that I would particularly download unless it became so popular that I wanted to see what it was all about. But that's really all I have to say regarding that.
Yep, I'm not on it.
Anything else?
No, that is all our mailbag today.
All right. Well,
Glad we got all that shit out.
yeah. Wow, we only did that in. Yeah, we didn't take too much time at all, actually.
Well, we kind of stayed a lot on topic and it was a light show this week, thankfully.
Thankfully, it was a light show. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, that is all I have to say regarding our agenda. That's it. That is our show tonight, people. It was very, very nice seeing you guys again. We just want to let you know that next week we will be having a show, but
At
on
normal
the
time, hopefully.
at
We'll be
normal
at the
time.
regular time.
Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But at the 16th, we will be taking a 1 week break, and we will return back on the 23rd.
Mhm.
On that note, my name is Scarfy.
I'm Naka.
And I am Krüz. Greg rules, okay?
And you were watching Subwuffer Entertainment Treehouse. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.